Welcome back to our podcast series on crisis communication and reputation management. In episodes 1 and 2, we covered the foundations and types of crises. Now, we shift gears to something absolutely essential, building a crisis communication plan.
That's right, Yogesh. A solid plan isn't just a document you check off during compliance audits. It's a living, breathing system that prepares your organization to respond swiftly and smartly when the unexpected hits.
Think of it as a fire escape route. You don't create one during a fire. You build it beforehand and rehearse it. The same logic applies to crisis communication.
Exactly. So today, we're walking through the core components of a well-structured crisis communication plan, from assembling the team to drafting holding statements.
Let's start at the top. Step 1. Establish a crisis response team. Who should be on this team?
You need a mix of decision makers and communicators. Typically, that includes the CEO or senior executive, the head of communications or PR, legal counsel, HR, especially for internal crises, a tech or operations lead, and a media spokesperson.
And don't forget a backup for each role. Crises don't always happen 9 to 5.
Great point. Now, once you've assembled your team, step 2 is risk assessment. Identify potential crisis scenarios. What could realistically go wrong in your organization?
This is where brainstorming worst-case scenarios comes in. Data breach, product recall, executive scandal, social media backlash. List them, rank them by likelihood and impact, and create scenarios for each.
Step 3 is stakeholder mapping. Who needs to hear from you during a crisis?
And each stakeholder group needs a different tone, channel, and timing.
Step 4 is design your messaging framework. This includes holding statements, message maps, and templates for press releases or internal memos.
Let's break that down a bit. What's a holding statement?
It's a pre-approved general statement you release immediately after a crisis breaks, even before all facts are known. Something like, "We are aware of the situation and are currently investigating. Our top priority is the safety and trust of our customers."
It buys you time and shows that you're engaged, not hiding.
Exactly. A message map, on the other hand, outlines your core messages, supporting facts, and likely questions. It's a quick reference guide for anyone talking to stakeholders.
Step 5 is about communication channels. You need a clear protocol on how you'll communicate. Email, Slack, press conference, social media.
And who controls access? You don't want 5 different people tweeting conflicting messages during a crisis.
True story. I once saw a company lose 4 critical hours because their spokesperson was on vacation and no backup was assigned.
Ooh, that brings us to an important point. Accessibility. The plan should be easily accessible to the crisis team, not buried in some shared folder with 12-step login.
Cloud-based and mobile-friendly. Crisis doesn't wait for your laptop to boot.
All right, let's wrap up with a few action tips for our listeners.
Tip 1. If your organization doesn't have a crisis plan, start building one today. Assign a team and begin with likely scenarios.
Tip 2. Conduct a crisis drill at least once a year. Make it realistic and include real-time decision-making.
Like fire drills, they help you uncover weaknesses. Who panics? Who delays decisions? What's missing from the checklist?
Let's also talk about crisis levels. Some companies categorize crises as level 1, minor, level 2, moderate, and level 3, severe. Each level triggers different protocols.
Yes, a small product bug doesn't need the CEO to jump in, but a data breach involving customer credit cards, that's an all-hands level 3.
One thing we haven't touched on yet is documentation and logs. During a crisis, you need to keep records of what was said, who approved it, and when. It protects you legally and helps during post-crisis analysis.
Also vital for internal transparency. After a crisis, you want to know what worked and what didn't.
Should we give listeners a sample structure of a crisis communication plan?
Let's do it. A standard plan should include executive summary and purpose, crisis team structure and contact lists, risk assessment and scenario planning, stakeholder communication matrix, messaging templates, holding statements, FAQs, communication channel strategy, roles and responsibilities, simulation and training schedule, legal and compliance guidelines, post-crisis review checklist.
Beautifully laid out. And let's emphasize, it's okay to start simple and evolve over time. A basic plan is better than no plan.
One more thing, include external partners in your plan. PR agencies, legal advisors, cybersecurity consultants. You may need to activate them fast.
And keep that contact list up to date. A wrong phone number in the middle of a crisis? Disaster.
True story. I once saw a company lose 4 critical hours because their spokesperson was on vacation and no backup was assigned.
Ooh, that brings us to an important point, accessibility. The plan should be accessible to the crisis team, okay? Not buried in some shared folder with a 12-step login.
Cloud-based and mobile-friendly. Crisis doesn't wait for your laptop to boot.
All right, let's wrap up with a few action tips for our listeners.
Tip 1. If your organization doesn't have a crisis plan, start building one today. Assign a team and begin with likely scenarios.
Tip 2. Conduct a crisis drill at least once a year. Make it realistic and include real-time decision-making.
Tip 3. Use templates. Create holding statements, FAQs, and message maps in advance.
Tip 4. Keep your contact list fresh. People change roles, numbers, and locations. Update regularly.
And finally, tip 5. Involve leadership. A plan only works if the top decision makers support it and participate in rehearsals.
In our next episode, we'll talk about leadership's role in crisis situations, because a plan is only as effective as the people executing it.
Thank you, Lily, and to our listeners. And as always, remember, don't forget, good communication isn't what you say, it's what others understand. If you found this episode of Corporate Communication useful, don't forget to join us, leadershipacademy.tagbizsutra.com. Do share it with your friends and colleagues and leave your review. Until next time, stay ready, stay human, and keep your crisis compass pointed towards clarity.